Hello. So we're here with Samantha Wilson, mindset coach and Reiki healer. Hello, Samantha.
Hi.
Thanks so much for joining me today in your
you.
beautiful home studio in Bangkok.
Yes.
Amazing. Okay, so Sam, tell us a little bit about what you do and how you help people.
Women, yes. So predominantly I work with women who are burnt out or just want to elevate their own energy or emotional regulation just on a day-to-day basis. So I work on a mindset side as well as energy, which is the Reiki healing modality as well.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering what led you to this path? Were you doing something different before, or did something happen in your life?
I think everyone hits a point in their life where they think, is there something more for me? And I think the more spiritual you are, you will sit in frustration if you're not actually living your higher values and to living like who you actually are. And so your higher self is calling you, and you'll sit in frustration if you're not actually living true to that version of yourself. My background is sales and marketing in hotels, and I had a lifetime, career before living in Thailand.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I got to a point where I wanted more. I wanted to feel better. Like everything on the outside looked perfect and shiny. And I was like the three little kids, exhausted, a husband that traveled. And I just was like, there has to be more. I don't want to feel like this. And yeah, I just started working on myself. I studied nutrition, working towards my Reiki mastership, which I think I did it in 2.5, 3 years.
Wow.
And yeah, also did mindset coaching with one of the world's leading mindset coaches.
Oh, who was that?
Out of the States, Rob Dale Jr. So he has a really good coaching program, which is quite an intensive training, but it's really amazing. And it helped me, and then therefore able to help other women who were feeling exhausted, emotional, anxious, not knowing how to feel good in themselves. And yeah, now I get to lead women to feel the best they can.
Amazing. And I know whenever I see you, you do radiate this sort of great energy. You have these 3 kids, but you never seem flustered. So I guess whatever you're doing, it's working.
That's really sweet. I don't know if that's so true.
Like
3 kids is 3 kids is hectic. Yeah.
I bet.
But no, I truly believe that your energy is your most important asset to anything. And that's within mindset and energy work, is that if you're, and even in day-to-day life, if you're going to react to something, you should never do it in like a frazzled or emotional or an overwhelmed state. So, always take that time to meditate, to ground, to go for a walk, to do your workout, even if it's 15 minutes. You have to be, guiding your clients from the best state. You have to be, reacting to your kids, your husband, everyone around you. And it's such an important part of being a woman, is being able to, live in overflow so you can give other people around you that same energy.
Yeah, definitely. And I think women tend to be the kind of cornerstone of the family. You need to take care of your own career and your own well-being, but on top of that, the kids' well-being, your partner's well-being, the running of the house. And all of a sudden, I guess you went from looking after yourself to now looking after 5 people.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's exhausting for most women. And the thing that I guess I want to normalize is that you don't have to get to that exhaustion. You don't have to get to that burnout or overwhelm or juggling everything, because our minds don't stop as women. There's a million things. What bill do I have to pay? What kids' activity? You've got a list of things, especially at this time of year.
Christmas time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's constantly doing just small little life shifts that you can do over time to help feel better, so that you are coming and operating from a higher state, which therefore makes everything easier, because you're not battling your emotions or anxiety or
Yeah, and I would be your probably your ideal client, because I definitely feel with my psychology work, I'm also having to be very well and centered in myself, not have, obviously we can't live without problems, but I need to have a good energy to hold space. And then for me, yeah, it's been this real challenge being a mum and being away from my family and some of my support system, and just juggling all of that in a way where I feel in control. I often feel like on the back foot, firefighting and rushing around like a blue ass fly,
Of course.
basically. That's my MO.
Yeah. And honestly, this life that the world is kind of pushing us forward in is, towards burnout, and it is towards exhaustion, and it is, how are you supposed to manage everything, and being able to, potentially, well, with Reiki work, it's shifting the energy that's stagnant, that's no longer serving you. So releasing, especially if you're working with other emotions and energies, you don't need to be holding that. So Reiki is a real easy way to clean that slate. And also any of the modalities in the healing world, breath work and meditation, Reiki energy, it's all getting your body into the parasympathetic state so that you are regulating your nervous system, and then you can operate from that state much calmer
So
and
yeah,
at ease.
sorry to cut you off.
No.
But I guess, yeah, so when you're in that rest and digest, you're in control, you're calm. But if your nervous system is firing too much, or you're in fight, flight, or freeze, then all of a sudden you're feeling overwhelmed and you don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
interesting. So just going back to your journey towards becoming a Reiki healer, what called you towards energy work after having kind of a normal job, I guess? I don't know, would you say it was normal, or was it extraordinary?
Yeah. No. Yeah. A career, like a career.
Yeah.
Business side. I experienced Reiki like 15 years ago. So back, I went through like a bad breakup, and someone just said, go and try Reiki. And I was like, okay. And I did. And I walked in feeling anxious and emotional and all of the things that I didn't want to feel. And I just remember walking out an hour later feeling like myself, feeling calm, feeling happy, feeling like how I wanted to feel. And I remember thinking, wow, like that's just 1 hour. So I went to her regularly, probably every 2 to 3 weeks for a long time, like a good few years. And then we moved here, and I didn't actually find someone that was close to get to in Bangkok. That I there was a few Reiki masters, but they weren't easy to find or to get to and things like that. And then we were having babies. And I remember organizing a retreat for, it was actually in Phuket, and we had about 10 of us down there. And I said to him, can you get in a Reiki master? And he said, yeah, there's someone down here on the island. I'll get him. And I remember thinking at that point, I was like, this is what I want to do. Like, this is where I want to, move forward. So that's when I started to. So yeah, it was actually during a Reiki session that it was like, this is what I can do too. And it called me forward.
Oh, I've got chills. Yes. I love that. Yeah. So I guess it sounds like it felt like a calling, like a thread that you wanted to pull on, and you just followed it. And I guess the more you pulled on that thread, the more you were thinking, this is.
And the more unfolded, exactly. And the more women you help, that's the magic.
Yeah.
When someone comes in and they're exhausted and they're like, you can see it in their eyes, and then they walk out and their eyes are sparkling and clear and beautiful.
I love that. And, I think this is a big part of why I wanted to do the Lumen Project, because of course there's a time and place for therapy, or there's a time and place for breath work, but sometimes you need to get your sparkle back as a woman, whether it's because you've gone through a breakup, whether it's because you're burnt out from wearing a million different hats, or you're just feeling a bit lost. My experience of Reiki has been really positive as well. Just helps you to get your energy flowing and your life force back.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. It literally is life force energy. It's a Japanese ancient term. Yeah. Reiki, life force energy.
Oh, nice. I didn't even know that. So
you didn't?
No, I didn't know that's what Reiki meant. Gosh, what
Now
a beginner I am.
Now you do.
Yeah. Okay, interesting. So I was curious about sort of the types of women you help, or maybe a success story that you've got.
Yes. There was a period of time where majority of my clients were teachers. And I think that also points to the fact that, there's so much, stress and overwork that is put onto teachers and just, women in general. It's like, it's a lot. So that was, a big kind of period in, I think, probably 2 years. It was just mainly teachers that were my clients. But one of like the most beautiful memories of a client is that she kept canceling on me. And she just said, "Oh, I'm too anxious to come to you. I'm too anxious to go to a new place." And I just held space for her. I said, "Don't worry. Like, when you're ready, you can come." And she did. And then she came in and she was so anxious and like withdrawn. And she'd had, whatever had happened to her. And it was quite traumatic for her. And I just helped her with the mindset and then the energy work. It was just really how she could manage herself on a day-to-day basis, just to deal with her anxiety in a real way. Not like, she just wanted someone that wasn't a part of her day-to-day life and just let go, right? So anyway, fast forward to like a month down the track, she came back and it was a completely different woman. She was laughing. She was like vibrant. And I literally had to take a second glance. I was like, this is a completely different woman. And she just said, "Sammy, I did what you told me to do." And I literally just started crying. And I was like, that's why I'm doing this, for moments like this, that you don't actually know how much you help someone until you see it.
Yeah. And sometimes people just need that little fire starter. Or also, I don't know, at least my experience of being a mum and a therapist is that I hold space for a lot of people. But sometimes I would say my husband does hold space for me. But yeah, if I was single, I wouldn't necessarily have that consistent person holding space. And even though my husband's amazing, it is different when you're in a relationship versus if you've got a therapist who's really skilled in holding space like that. So that's beautiful that you're able to do that. I love that story. Nice. So obviously with mindset coaching, I guess there's not really many, I don't know, dangers, but I wonder with things like Reiki, are there any contraindications to doing it or things that people should be aware of?
No, it's a very, very gentle therapy. Like, your body will just literally go into the same state as if you're meditating or doing breath work. So it's very calm and very gentle. I will, gently touch and then hover above your body, like all of your different chakras, and then just work through what needs to be worked through more. But yeah, no, it's gentle. Your body knows what to do. Some people fall asleep, some people like cry, some people fart, some people snore.
Purge it out, let it go. Let go what no longer serves you.
But I like to describe it as it's a massage for your energies, as if, like a massage for your muscles. It's a cleansing of your energies as well.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, nice. And I guess, when we are in this fight or flight mode or this overwhelm mode, at least for me, I feel really disconnected from my body. I feel disconnected from my energy. And in fact, my body and my energy is saying, slow down, slow down. I'm like, no, I've got so much to do. So this is, I guess, a beautiful reset moment where it's like, come back to yourself. Let's regroup and let's proceed.
Recenter, exactly. Yeah. Nice. And just being able to then move forward in the best version of you.
Yeah, nice. So I understand this concept of kind of cleaning your energy. I wonder, sometimes I know with Reiki practices, there can be additional like mystical things that happen. I don't know, what do you experience when you're giving a healing, or what do people report that they see that's...
Colors. A lot of the time it's colors, but I think that's also in any of your meditative states as well. A lot of the time you will see certain colors depending on different chakras. You'll have heat or sensations, tingling sensations. I'll sometimes feel the energy is really strong. I'll feel like my eyelids like fluttering, and like it's quite intense. I actually went for Reiki with my Reiki master recently, and she said, when I finished, I said, "Oh, I feel really nauseous." And it only happens when I do certain healing modalities like sound healing and obviously sometimes intense Reiki sessions. And she said, I felt exactly the same. And she said, it's not ever happened to me like that before. She said, it's obviously something that we both needed to clear. So yeah, you can take on the energies, but it's not that common. And then obviously some people are more spiritually aligned, and then there will be spiritual drop-ins and things like that, but that's a whole nother subject.
Yeah.
That can be something else.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Because I was just wondering about the more mystical things. Because
Yeah.
sometimes when I've had Reiki, I've had some people who've passed away. They've kind of come through, but I'm quite open and.
And it generally is, the more spiritual the client, the more that will come through.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
And I guess I like welcomed it. Whereas I think
Yeah.
if people don't want that, then it probably won't come through for
Exactly.
them. So yeah, I'm just curious as a practitioner, okay, let me backtrack. When I personally got into more energy work and learning about this, it's because I was working with severely depressed teenagers and I didn't know anything about energy, and I would be working with them and I would feel so drained and I felt I was really unable to protect my energy. I didn't know what I was doing. I just had a baby, so I felt like my energetic space was so open. I wonder, as an energy worker, do you feel sometimes quite drained? Do you need to protect yourself, and how do you do it?
There are techniques which Reiki people generally will do before a session to protect their energy, but I think it's also just being mindful of who you're around, and if it's a work situation, it's very different. So that would have been hard for you because that is something that you can't avoid.
Yeah.
I'm quite sensitive. My husband laughs because if a movie's too, gory, and I'm like, I can't let my energy fields into this realm. I have nightmares, and he's like, you can't be that sensitive. I'm like, I am. So it is protecting your energies in the sense that you choose the people that you are around. I'm very, very, very grateful that all of my clients are beautiful energies that I get to work with. So I do believe that there is a reason certain people are attracted to you, or you work with them. So I am very grateful for that. So that is an element. But I also know that if I was maybe in another country where people were depressed and that it was a bigger part, potentially it could change. But yeah, the clients that I have had have been amazing. So that is very good. But I think also just then going and respecting your own energy, going for a walk, doing a workout, going for a sauna. That's something I also do. That's a bit of an energy cleanse, detox as well.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's a really good tip. I will do that. Yeah, I guess at the time.
Or swim in the ocean. I mean, that is the ultimate.
Yeah.
So you can.
Yes, luckily I live on a tropical island, so
Yeah.
I can do that. Yeah. And I think at the time for me, it just sort of caught me by surprise because I think I was less open energetically before. And then all of a sudden I had a year off for maternity leave. I came back kind of a hippie and I was like, whoa. And also because I was working in the NHS at the time, I didn't really have much say on who I would work with. I mean, I do think though the universe probably still paired us off, but I didn't have a choice of who it was and the number. So I had this little baby, I was completely fried, and I was working with suicidal teenagers. It was very heavy.
You would have had a lot of lessons in that.
A lot, yes, yeah. I mean, it
lot.
was actually sometimes the harder the work, the more rewarding, but it was difficult. And then it has taught me now to really protect my energy and be conscious of, a variety of different clients with a variety of different needs.
Yeah.
So is there anything that people could do, if they're listening and they can't have an opportunity for a one-to-one with you or another Reiki master, is there something they can do maybe just to protect their energy or to clean their energy?
Cleanse. Yes. So something I always suggest to clients is you can always have a little reset yourself. In meditation, it doesn't have to be, some people think of meditation means I have to sit still for, 10 minutes and think with my thoughts. There are so many guided meditations out there. So you can literally just choose one if you want to. There's even cleanse energy meditations as well. So a lot of the time I'll just do like a 5-minute positivity meditation. And then while I'm doing that, I'll rub my hands and I'll place them over my heart and I'll just imagine negativity leaving my body and just only allowing in like a white cleansing light. So that you do that for 5 minutes, and that's a little, reset that you can do on your own. And yeah, it's just a beautiful kind of way to get back to your heart. So often we're just going in, autopilot, and we're not actually living through our heart energy and our heart space. So it's just guiding back to, gratitude and positivity and feeling so much better.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, definitely something I would like to try and do. Actually, once I worked with a holistic psychologist. So she was a bit like you. She was a psychologist and I know you're a coach, but
Yeah.
she had that kind of dual role. And I asked her once, like, how often would you say you're kind of connected to this, this light and cleansing? And she was like, yeah, nearly always. So she was always coming back to that light, always centering in her heart. And you could tell when you met her, she was so grounded, so peaceful. And yeah, I think I need to do that.
It's a very conscious decision. But once you decide and you feel the benefits, you can't unfeel it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, cool. Well, I'm going to start doing that's going to be my homework after today. Okay, so we're going to move on to you fixing me and my many problems.
That's a big
yes, you have 20 minutes.
I know, give me a time frame of 20 minutes.
20 minutes. But before we fix me, what's next for you? Like, how do you see your work evolving and changing?
So something that I've started doing and I absolutely love is holding women's circles and just, I guess, normalizing spirituality. So, we are all spiritual beings in a way. We're all here for a purpose. We're all here. And it's, it's so beautiful that the mainstream is really taking on so much more of a holistic approach to life. Ice baths and saunas are, now the norm. Wellness retreats are now a huge part of life. And, all of the modalities, Reiki, breath work, sound healing, all of these modalities are now becoming more mainstream, which is beautiful. And being able to bring those elements into women's lives. So I'm holding women's circles for up to about 10 people. So that's just really bringing community and connection in, as well as just being centered, thinking about how you want to feel, because too often we never think about it. We just are on autopilot. We're doing everything for everyone else, and being able to come back into that to really be like focused on how we want to feel. Yeah, so I'm loving doing the women's circles, and that's just, also doing little mini energy cleanses during that as well. I'm looking to collaborate with another lady who's a sound healer and yoga teacher, so we can work together and do, something special there.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, so that's coming.
And I think, again, with this project, what I'm seeing is a return to what we used to do. 3-4 generations ago, women would be together peeling vegetables and harvest. I don't know what they used to do in the olden days, but they were together chit-chatting. And I think now women are often in their masculine, plugged into something, laser focused, and they don't have that nice collective support from other women.
Yeah.
And again, not to bash the husbands, but sometimes I feel like their experience is so different from ours that it's hard for them to maybe support in the way,
that emotional side.
Yeah.
Of course, it's so different.
They really, I think if I had a moan to you about something, you would get it as a fellow mum more than maybe my husband would.
Men are fixers.
Yes, they're like, oh.
They're like, am I fixing it or am I listening?
You're tired? Okay, go to bed tonight at 8. I'll do the kids tonight. And you're like, okay, but...
I know. Yeah, it's so different. It's so different. But I think community is becoming a huge part of wellness and the world now, because we've been forced behind our desks, forced behind screens, looking at tiny little mini screens that it takes away from real life. So now there's a huge movement in, wellness retreats, community connection. There's a huge movement in community, and women's circles are a big part of it. But I actually think that there's even a huge need for men's circles, not like calling it a men's circle, but where men can go and just be, and even if it's a workout, an ice bath, a sauna, all of that stuff without the drinking part of it, to just go and, not necessarily unload, but just have that connection outside of the office or the screens or, the kids.
Yes.
So I'm not the right person to run that, but I would love to see that moving forward from in a man like element as well.
Definitely. And one of my interviews lined up is a guy who is similar to you, and he runs this brotherhood program. And it is, I think the women are further ahead because
we just love to connect.
We're more open to it, but it is coming for the men, which I think is great.
Yeah.
And another thing I heard about recently, which I think is cool, is it's called a fishbowl. So it's where, for example, the women speak and the men listen, and then you swap over, so you can get better insights into, what the men are thinking.
Oh my God, do we want to know?
I want to know. Yes. I want to know everything. Okay, amazing.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Well, I love how this is how the direction you're moving in. So yeah, should we talk about my problems? Will
If
you
you
fix
like,
me?
yeah.
Okay, I have many problems. No. I guess something that I was keen to talk to you about is that I feel I have quite a lot of energy and a lot of ideas. I'm also a little bit ADHD, so I'm like, ooh, sparkly thing, ooh, squirrel. And so my energy, it feels scattered a
Yeah.
lot of the time. And so there'll be projects that are really meaningful to me, like this one, but sometimes it ends up slipping down the list. So although I know the Lumen Project is something that would really fill me up, give me meaning and purpose, direction, I feel like I'm always firefighting. Oh, got to get the kids, got to sort out this. Oh, I've got private client, da, da, da. And I feel very scattered a lot of the time.
And I think that's normal. It's so normal.
Oh, okay.
Do you journal?
No.
Yeah. So journaling is a huge way to get it out of your mind and onto paper, and also prioritize.
Yeah.
So for me, a quick meditation, I'm also the same. I'm like, I've got all these things and I want to be here and I want to have done this and and I'm like, why am I not this far further? I want to be further ahead. That's because we are the people that we are. And it's because something's calling you forward. And that's a great thing. And it's just prioritizing it and giving yourself realistic timeframes as well. So it doesn't have to be now, but putting it down and just saying, what's my priority now? And just starting to chip away at it and knowing that it will unfold as it should.
Yeah, yeah. And I think you're touching on something that I've been thinking about a lot, which is patience and procrastination. So I think sometimes to do a project well, you need that kind of patience, the marathon kind of momentum, slow and steady. But on the other hand, sometimes I do think maybe I'm dawdling, procrastinating, taking a little bit too long, and maybe I need a bit more of that, masculine energy, that focus. So I've been struggling with that a bit.
Yeah. And I'm the same. And I think that, no, honestly, you
Makes you
have to
feel
normalize it. You have to normalize it. Like, we're mums and we'll never get this time back from our kids as well.
Yes.
So a lot of the times it's like, I want to be doing this. And then, sometimes I'm like, right. And the thing with women is we have a 28-day like hormonal cycle, whereas men's hormone reset every single day. So every day they wake up, they're ready. Women, we're like, it takes us like a full 28 days to kind of, some part of that month we're creative, some part we're really driven, some part we're not. And we have to honor that cycle. So sometimes we can go, right, I'm doing this, and do it literally within a week. And then other times you kind of think, well, what am I doing now? And you kind of procrastinate, and there's always something else that comes up. And I think it's also understanding your hormonal cycles as well, so that there are certain times of the month that you do become laser focused on what it is that you want to achieve. And that's something that I've found works with me. It's that honoring that for 2 or 3 days, I am not going to be so motivated. I am going to need, the massage or, a nap or, being a woman, allowing ourselves to be. And then I really find that during that time where you are not so hormonal, there's, a 2 or 3 week balance that you are then driven or creative, and it's just nurturing those times of the month as well to really then get a lot more done in that time. Because sometimes, you can turn around stuff, in 2 hours, and then other times you just can't get motivated.
Yeah.
And it's just allowing that.
Yeah.
And knowing that we're not super women and being, true to ourselves.
Yeah. And I guess that also touches on something else I've been thinking about is, I guess I really strive for excellence. Like, I don't strive for perfection, but I strive for excellence. And it can be difficult when I have these competing things. I want to be an excellent mum. I want to have an excellent physique. I want to be an excellent wife, an excellent psychologist, a business owner, a retreat. And it's like, oof. And part of me wants to believe that you can have it all at once. The other part of me is like, well, you can have it all, but not at the same time. So what do you think about how much to push yourself, I guess?
I think something will always suffer.
Yeah.
So I don't think you should put 100% stress and pressure into every single element. So I've got these beautiful workbooks, and I can share with you as well. They show your 6 or maybe 8 circles. So you've got your relationship, you've got your family, you've got your career, you've got your health, and where you are feeling out of 10 on all of those, and just marking them off and then seeing, okay, you need a little bit more work on that. But a lot of the time, if you're giving everything to all the rest, it is something is going to have to suffer.
Yeah.
So you have to prioritize what it is that you want to give everything to, and then know that you can't be everything to everyone.
Yeah.
And just being kinder to yourself in that respect.
And maybe sometimes if there is something that's just not going well and pulling the whole thing down, maybe just pausing it or cutting it for a while until you got the energy.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's a good reminder.
Or just waiting until January, for example, to, really get involved in another project or whatever it is. It's just being realistic about the time frames.
Yeah, nice. Okay, well, I think that's really a good practical tip, and I shall do that. So another thing I wanted to chat to you about is, from an energy level, I feel two almost opposing things. So I think my natural essence is quite bubbly and effervescent, quite positive. And then there's this other side of me that feels quick into overwhelm, a bit exhausted all the time, sometimes a bit grumpy. In fact, a little side thing, my husband once said, "Oh, if I knew you were this stressy before we got married, I wouldn't have married you." I was like, okay, rude. But anyway, don't worry, he said sorry. I was being quite grumpy. But yeah, so I'd love to stay in my effervescent, bubbly self all the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't know, is this just be kind to yourself, you're going to go up and down, or do I have like an energetic block that's making me...
No, I don't think so. I think energy work does help put you back into that clearer state quicker. But so do things like running, like exercising. If you're feeling grumpy, then what's causing it. If it's kids, we all have that.
I feel like this is our own little women's circle today.
Seriously, like it's true, and then you can't run away from that. It's kind of part of life for now. But
well, they can run away to your retreat maybe for a week. Bye. Need a reset.
Exactly. And it's so important that women do that, because you go back a new woman, right? And once you have that little just 2 days, 3 days away, you go back revitalized and ready, and just a whole nother level of patience. But if your, I guess, grumpiness, or also we're hormonal beings, so don't discount that either. That's totally just us, life and women. But yeah, I do really think that knowing if what's happening is actually from certain behaviors or parts of life that then we can just avoid, or if it's just part of life and then we just work through it. But it is completely normal. You are never going to be in a perfect state all of the time. That's just not achievable. And it's just knowing how to move from, the states that potentially we don't love back into our higher state. But it's also normalizing it. We're human beings.
Yeah.
We're hormonal, we're women, we do carry a lot. So I also know that sometimes sometimes it shows up as exhaustion as well, and your body just needs that rest and giving it that.
Yeah. And I like that you're talking about normalizing some of these states that we're in, because I think, myself and some of my clients, we kind of punish ourselves twice. So we're feeling a bit grumpy, and then we are annoyed that we're feeling a bit grumpy. So it then takes longer to get back to a good state. And I think it's just like, okay, this is normal. I've got a lot on my plate at the moment. I'm coming onto my period. I'm just going to be grumpy today.
Yeah.
And
Don't come near me. Go to the beach. I'll see you after.
Yeah.
That's what you do. And you go and you walk and you clear your mind and you come back refreshed. And it's not, the longer you dwell in it, the worse it is for everyone. So it's normalizing it. Okay, I'm feeling this. Let's get through it. And that's something that men can do very quickly. And I think it is to do with their hormone reset every day, whereas we have a bit more work to do.
Yeah. I think you're right. And I think also, aside from gender, I think also for me, because I'm kind of ADHD, it's like sometimes if I don't want to do something, I really cannot.
Mm.
Like there's no amount of Ritalin I can pop that will make me do that task. So I'm better off just leaving it for a while
Yeah.
until that hyperfocus kicks in. Then I can attack it. So yeah, just
Yeah, otherwise you're just pushing up a hill. That's not going to happen.
exactly.
Yeah.
You're then getting more exhausted,
Yeah.
and it's actually delaying my opportunity to tap into my hyperfocus. Yeah. Okay. Amazing. So yeah, I'm just wondering, what do you think I should? So for me, I do really struggle to write a to-do list and to stick to it. Or if I have a business strategy, I'll maybe change my mind. I'll
That's
be like,
okay.
oh, there's something shiny here, and go off course. Do you have any thoughts for staying on task?
I think for me, if this is around overwhelm, for me, when I'm feeling overwhelmed, I have to write it down. I have to get it out of my head. Otherwise it starts to just like either I forget, or it gets too much and I think I have too much to do and not enough time. So it's just lists. It's boring lists. And then just ticking it off. And every single time you tick it off, it's like, wow, that wasn't that hectic. Or, it's so much smaller once it's down.
Yeah.
You just can do it so much. It's such a simple, but so many things that people don't do are the simple things. Do you know what I mean? Like, we like to complicate things for ourselves.
Yeah.
But making lists is just super, yeah. And just also visualizing. Like, I have a
vision board.
Vision board.
Nice.
So, if it's a list, just having it there.
Yes.
Having it there so you can just tick it off for the week.
Nice.
Getting it out of the way. And it's also a sense of achievement, ticking things off.
Yeah. And I think for me, like, sometimes if I say to my husband, oh, I'm feeling overwhelmed, he's like, but did you write a list? I'm like, shut up. Like, of course I thought of writing a list. But actually, I haven't been in this, like, consistent, every day writing the list, every day thinking of, so I call it, like, the signal and the noise. So we have some tasks that are going to be the signal. They're the ones that are really going to help you drive forwards. And some tasks are like the noise, like, oh, I don't know, tidy up the shoe cupboard or something. And as an ADHD person, I'll probably do the shoe cupboard first and leave the bigger tasks. But I think it's just trying to maintain that habit of writing the list, journaling.
Yeah, and also passing things to, like, people that you can rely on. Do you have someone around you that can tidy the shoes, or take off that load that you don't necessarily have to do? But I'm the same. Like, you can be sitting there and it's like, oh, you have to do the laundry. So you get up and you do the laundry. It's like, no, like, it can wait, but you're trying, as a woman, you're trying to think of everything that needs to be done, or it's being super organized and starting earlier.
I'm not waking
in the
up
morning.
at 5 a.m.
Yeah. So some people do that. Yeah.
I'm not going to do that. I get woken up at 5 a.m.
Yeah. When I start my day at 5, like, I can literally do a million and one things. So yeah.
Okay. Well.
And I'm not a morning person either.
Yeah.
So.
And I guess this is something you can train, right? So some things don't feel natural, and the first week, the first month might be difficult, and then all of a sudden, after a month, you're like, oh, this is easy. It's part of what I do.
Yeah. Everything feels uncomfortable at the start, right?
Yeah.
Until you do it and it becomes easier and easier.
Yeah. Brene Brown calls it fucking first times. So it's like the first time you do something.
Yeah.
You don't want to. You're like, oh, I don't like this. And then you do it and it's okay.
Yeah.
All right, nice. So I don't know if you want to do this, but should we do like a little bit of Reiki or?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, cool. Do I put blanket on or off?
Up to you. It's not that hot. Do you want to hold any crystals? Usually up to you. What are you feeling called to?
I'm feeling this one, but it's also like because I like
Sparkly.
it.
All right. And what sensations do you feel if you when you have Reiki? Do you know?
Well, right now I feel sort of like almost like a pressure in, I guess, like my third eye, but then it's like tingles or something going down, especially down on this right side.
Wow. I once worked on like a famous orthodontist, and it took him, his hands were clenched the whole time, and it took him 45 minutes to unclench his hands.
Oh.
It was amazing, but it just shows like your body kind of takes, holds on to so much that you don't even realize. Because he's all day, working on teeth and holding his tools, that's what his body automatically does. And then, so many people have different experiences. Like some, may feel numb in a certain part of their, hand or feet, or sometimes it can be, a weight.
Well, I feel good though. I feel like an opening. Now I feel almost like a spiral like this. I don't know if you're moving your hands, but to me it feels like you're moving your hands in this direction.
Oh, wow. But one thing I do notice is the more the clients that I have that are more spiritually connected, like it sounds crazy, it's like a little bit more fun because you can feel like so much more going on. It's like, whew. So there's definitely a lot happening, which is lovely.
Oh, good. I feel a bit emotional now.
And that's a wonderful thing. It's just a release, right? And so often we don't even know how much we're holding on to. It's like layers, right?
Yeah.
Healing is always little layers that you can gently work with and unfold. That was just a little
Yeah.
mini session.
Thank you. I think the reason I was crying is my auntie passed away, and well, yeah, I sort of, I guess I felt like her presence maybe, and then I just
wow.
felt like yeah, I don't know, just I've been like kind of having to be strong a lot, and I'd feel like sad about, I don't know, it's actually a bit difficult to explain. And then I yeah.
Well, maybe
really
she
nice.
did come to give you a hug.
Maybe,
You never know.
maybe. Yeah. Oh, that was really nice. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you so much. Well, really special.
So
Thank you for holding
special.
the space.